Hey, what up? This is Zach Guilford from Midnight Mass, and you're listening to one of my favorite podcasts, Pop Culture Pastor.
Pop Culture Pastor.
All right, Cody. I have a new plan.
I don't know how I feel about it. I don't even know what it is. I just don't know how I feel.
Cody's like Garth in Wayne's World. We fear change.
He does this every Friday night.
You'll never afford it. Live in the now. The recent news lately has been driving me a little nuts. I feel like I've become cynical Dave.
There's only room for one cynic in this group.
So I thought, you know what? I'm going to look for some good news that's pop culture related. Good news. Yeah, good news.
I always send good news. Except for when I send bad news.
I was thinking that through. I was like, wait, you don't send me all good news. Some of it's extraordinarily bad.
I send equal amounts. It's just if you choose to go with the good or the bad, you choose which wolf to feed.
That's true. And that's what I'm saying. I think I've gotten like Marvel and Star Wars kind of get me down sometimes because Star Wars is just a mess. Everybody's fighting over it and it's just not fun. It's not fun to me. When I tried to watch The Acolyte, I think it affected what my feeling was, my attitude was just trying to watch it. And I think like it's not like when I watch Ted Lasso and I'm excited. I'm excited to sit and watch it because it's a super positive show. And I was just thinking about that. I was thinking about Ted Lasso and I thought, we're going to do good news.
Okay.
So we can have good attitudes going into our pod.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. Anyways, this is Pop Culture Pastor, the podcast. My name is Dave. Cody's here.
I am.
You're getting me and Cody again. No guest again this week.
Sorry for you, or you're welcome.
Whichever it is. We like to cover all the bases here.
Yes.
We are licensed ministers, and we love pop culture.
I do rather enjoy it.
So the first story I want to talk about, I stumbled across this article from People. They interviewed Kevin Smith. Now, this article came out July 29th, but I never saw it. Maybe because I don't subscribe to People?
I don't know people that subscribe to People.
Or maybe we just hate good news. Maybe we just don't care about good news or things. Maybe we just don't care about Kevin Smith.
I care about Kevin Smith.
I do too, but Kevin himself would say, yeah, that's probably it. Nobody cares about me. But that's not true. We kind of love Kevin Smith. Where is your Kevin Smith fandom? Because I can remember the indie boom and Clerks coming out, and I was literally working in a gas station / convenience store and a small family-owned video store at the same time when Clerks came out, which is the two jobs that the clerks work in that movie.
I think my first anything with him is like, oh, that's that director guy that's friends with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. And then I probably watched Dogma first out of his filmography.
Yeah.
And then he quickly becomes, hey, that's the DC superfan.
Yeah, he does love comics, which is how he won my heart. So he comes out with Clerks, and he wins my heart there with the relative stuff with the jobs. And then he comes out with Mallrats, which is about a comic book collector at heart. The heart of the movie is a guy who collects comics, who's kind of a restless, do-nothing kind of dude. So he was close to my heart at that time, too. And I just adored his movies. I adored Jay and Silent Bob, the two characters he kind of starts basing everything around, or at least the world around. They're never the main characters usually, unless they happen to get their own movie, like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. But anyways, I don't know where your level of Kevin Smith fandom is at, but this is an article I found about Kevin Smith. He was talking to people at San Diego Comic-Con back in late July, and basically he started sharing how, if you don't know, he had a near fatal heart attack
while doing comedy.
Yeah, I mean, it was a massive, massive heart attack, and he just started kind of sharing how he survived, how surviving that attack changed his outlook on life, particularly focusing on his health and well-being. They asked him how his mental health was, and he said, quote, "I'm holding on. It's coming up on a year and a half since I got out, And when you're in there, it's very easy to stay healthy because you're surrounded by people who are doing the same. And then the moment you leave, you're back in the real world and the rat race begins anew. So, Cody, first of all, what I kind of want to get out of you is, because you're a mental health guy, how do life-threatening experiences kind of reshape the way our brains work? Like if you go through something like that.
I can't say that it's going to affect everyone the same because we're all wired differently. We have different experiences, and also the events themselves affect your mental health differently. It's not uncommon, especially if there's like open heart surgery involved with the heart attack, for people to be more depressed for a little bit afterwards, especially since you have to be off from most everything in your life for like 4 to 6 weeks. That definitely has an effect, but for a lot of people, I think it puts it into perspective of what's important, because you just brushed up against death, and that, like Loretta Lynn once sang, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
Did you just drop a Loretta Lynn reference?
I did. You're welcome.
Wow.
That's the truth, that people are really scared to death, and also there's things worth living for here. So I think for some people it definitely puts it into perspective. Now, I do know of people that it caused like the adverse effect, and they're like, I'm going to spiral. And so
yeah.
That's why it's important to have community around you, and also be connected with, if you're connected with a faith background, be connected with your faith group. So
that was a good answer. I didn't think I was going to get an answer that in depth. I did not tell him what I was talking about.
I'm going in blind.
Cody is just reacting here. I did a very poor job of getting him ready for this. Well, yeah, with Kevin Smith, he starts talking in this article about how his heart attack triggered this kind of deeper understanding for him of his mental health, and it pushed him to seek therapy and reflect on personal growth. So that's really cool that it worked for him that way. As Cody said, it doesn't always, but I just kind of also dig that Kevin Smith's just an open dude. For a celebrity, for his fans, the people that follow him, he's kind of an open book. And this has just made him more open because he talks about health and mental health a lot.
He does, and that is something that I have always admired about Kevin Smith, is just his candidness. Honestly, we could probably thank him for this podcast, just because like what he did before, like everyone and their mom was doing podcasts. He kind of set the groundwork, I feel, for like all things pop culture-y blowing up.
Well, he's the first guy that does like the family of podcasts that I remember. So like The Ringer kind of is in there just after him doing that stuff. But Rogan just has his podcast. But Kevin Smith, well, he has this speaking gift. People will pay to hear him talk. He used to go on speaking tours. He'd go to universities and just get up and behind a microphone and just talk and tell stories. And that's a real gift. Being a storyteller in any generation of human history is just a wonderful gift. In this article, he's kind of highlighting the support of his fans and the Comic-Con community. I wanted to point that out because he really credits the Comic-Con community for being kind of a support system for him. Obviously, he's a big comics guy, and so for him, community is important. And he talks about the strength he draws from community and how the support of others influences our ability to bounce back from tough times. And I just thought it was a really cool thing to say or to talk about. He says this finally. He said, "The heart attack was the greatest gift I ever had." So he got his health together after that. He went vegan. I don't know that that's a necessary thing, but he did.
Your doctor will advise you on what is best for you.
Yeah, yes, exactly. If my doctor ever advises me to go vegan, I'm getting a new doctor. just saying. This was weird news that came out here in the last couple days. Josh Brolin has reportedly been offered the role of Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern in the upcoming Lanterns series, an entry into James Gunn's and Peter Safran's DC Universe franchise. Did you hear about this?
I did. So I saw a lot of comments on X about it. Some people being like, James Gunn, you can cast this person as Hal, and it's like another old person. And so they're talking about Mr. Brolin's age being an issue, but I don't think that it is an issue, especially considering there's more than one Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And where we're jumping in with Batman, Batman's older. If we're going to have the Batman family, like he's not a brand new Batman. He might not be Ben Affleck old, but he's not going to be young.
And granted, they can do whatever they want with it because they played around with that in the last one. In the DCEU, Batman, like you just said, Ben Affleck's Batman was old by the time Superman arrives on the scene.
Mm-hmm.
He's already an old hero. And so you can play around with some of that. I don't know. I'm not a huge DC guy. I think that's known. I do kind of like the idea of Hal Jordan being kind of an older hero.
Yes.
At the beginning of all this. And having a younger Clark Superman with an older Hal Jordan and maybe even a younger Batman. Like just having Hal Jordan kind of being one of the older heroes on the block and one of the older Lanterns.
I think if you do it correctly, that you can introduce newer or a less popular Green Lantern to a wider audience and have them fall in love with them. I mean, literally, if you would have asked me 15 years ago, who's Star-Lord? I would have been like, I don't know. You're making some dude up.
So, like, you said people on X had thoughts. This guy, Milkius Samuel, said, I love Josh Brolin, and he was superb as Thanos, but I'm sorry I cannot see him as Hal Jordan. He's usually a more serious actor, and while I'm okay with an older Hal Jordan, Hal being 56 in the DCU feels wrong. I mean, there's so many better choices. I mean, he's usually a more serious actor. I didn't know Hal Jordan was a jokester. I don't understand what he means by that. Like, Hal Jordan's a pretty serious dude, I think. It was Ryan Reynolds' version that was like
not
the alternate.
So serious. Yeah. I think if you go older Hal Jordan, he's going to be more serious and take the duties of the Lantern Corps more serious. But this would not be Josh Brolin's first time in a DC movie. If Jonah Hex is...
Yeah, so he was in Jonah Hex, and he bombed that director. So I don't know if anyone remembers that, but he really bombed on that director. It wasn't a good movie.
I didn't think it was awful. It was a different story.
Yeah. But he's recently, as he was, maybe it's when he started talking about this, he said that he wished he hadn't done that. He felt bad. So that was interesting. I don't know. I think Josh Brolin's a great actor. I think it would be really cool to see him as Hal Jordan.
I'm good with the casting, potentially, if he accepts. I am glad that he apologized to that director, because sometimes we just keep the thing we should do to ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are the two news stories I wanted to talk about. We're going to take a little foray out into the lobby again, 2 weeks in a row.
There's no longer any dust on the Raisinets.
Nope. We refreshed everything, including the nachos. Meet us out in the lobby. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the lobby.
All right, we are out in the lobby. Cody has put his hands on the table like he's getting checked in for prison because he couldn't stop fiddling with stuff.
When other people leave garbage in the workstation.
Other people, there's like 4 of your business cards over there.
Yes, that way you know who I am.
Cody's trying to like label his seat at the round table. He's having his own little makeshift nameplates.
Name it and claim it.
And
and I did it.
He's got multiple ones, like so he can switch the nameplate to Capitalist Cody when need be.
I do need to bring in my new business card, by the way.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Why?
Because the format has changed.
Yeah, that's important stuff.
It is.
That needs to be left here in the radio room for sure. I was just thinking that. All right, we're out in the lobby. We've got snacks, we got drinks, and we're answering listener questions. That's what we do in the lobby. We had some leftovers from last week.
Sweet.
So the first question is going to be, it's a play on the question we answered last week. Remember, Jim asked us what live or dead president would we take right now as the president? And this question is an offshoot. The first two questions are asked by David Allen in Florida.
Hello, David.
Yeah. And he asks, what fictional character do you think would be the best president?
Oh, it's tough. I had 3.
Now, are you answering this seriously?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I think they work in the time frame of the fictional character's story.
All right.
The purest of the 3 would be Atticus Finch.
Oh, wow.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Do you think Atticus would want that job?
No, but that's why he would make a great president.
That's a good point.
Another person who would not want the job, but would do good at it, but also would be willing to get his hands dirty where Atticus would not. Seth Bullock from Deadwood, the sheriff that Timothy Olyphant played.
Oh, okay. Not much of a diplomat.
No.
My
last one, and he's more diplomatic, but that's just because his family's all over the place. Michael Bluth from Arrested Development.
Oh, my goodness.
Also willing to get his hands a little dirty. And remember, kids, there's always money in the banana stand.
Yes. Well, he brings the money from the banana stand for sure. Like, because of the way I am, I could only think about this humorously at first. Well, the Tiger King, I mean, he ran for office once. Plus, I would love for him to just be informed about the debt and being like, we're never going to financially recover from this. I just think that would be hilarious. And I'm all about funny vignettes. Plus, having the Tiger King in the White House couldn't be any more ridiculous than some of our recent presidents, in my opinion. But I think he's a felon. Is he a felon? He went to prison,
yeah,
right?
He's in prison.
Yeah.
Still
So
there.
he's not a realistic choice. I just thought he'd be a funny choice. But when I'm thinking about realistic choices, Ted Lasso wouldn't want the job, but he'd be great. Maybe Beard from Ted Lasso. Nate can't because he's a British citizen.
Yep. Sorry.
I think Ben Wyatt from Parks and Rec would make a good president.
He would. I nearly said Leslie.
Yeah, Leslie's too political. I wouldn't like Leslie.
That's why she would succeed in today's government.
She loves Joe Biden so much, and it's adorable.
It is.
But she's super political, and I don't want political people in office. I'll take Ben. I'll take Ben Wyatt.
I can
Or
dig it.
April Ludgate, just because it'd be hilarious.
Oh. I don't know how I feel about April.
So I had all these funny thoughts, but then I kept coming back to, okay, Dave, be serious. Who's a character really that could be president? A character that I know and love. And the only one that I could think of, the only one I kept coming back to, and this is the obvious choice, which is why I think I was avoiding it, is Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers could be president. I would be totally down with that because Steve Rogers as Captain America, as a hero, is a guy who's always for the common good. What's good for the most people? What can I do that's good for the most people? That's his filter he thinks with.
I thought you were going to say John Q.
Well, Denzel Washington, just a real guy. I would totally take Denzel as president.
Oh, yeah. Very passionate. And I know John Q was loosely based on a real story, but he would get the health care reform that we need in this country, buddy.
Yeah, the fictional character makes Denzel hard, but, Denzel as Herman Boone, sure, why not? He knows how to get things done. He's a lot on the football strategy, maybe light on the geopolitics, but whatever.
Who amongst us isn't?
Yeah. David's next question is, Nintendo has been expanding its brand beyond gaming with movies, theme parks, etc. Do you think this is a good idea?
The past couple consoles that Nintendo has put out, I have not been like, oh my goodness, I must go buy this. I feel that doing movies with their beloved IP is a smart strategy if it's done well. If it's not done well, then shoo. And then the theme park, I mean, I wouldn't have 51 locations across the world, but maybe a couple. There is such thing as too much, but in areas that Nintendo has like a cult-like following, especially in Japan, why not have a resort or an amusement park?
Yeah. I don't know if I like what has happened to IP over the last 15 to 20 years. Overall, I don't know if I would sit here and say, well, you got to be on for it or against it. I don't know if I'd be for it, but then that's not really the question.
Mm-hmm.
So am I okay with that? Well, you mentioned their last two consoles haven't been great. And the Wii was inventive, but really they're the only ones that can make games for it. Switch is much the same.
Yep.
The games that Nintendo makes for it are really any good. The license that where everyone else makes it, they can't make good games.
It's a little disheartening.
Yeah, it's weird because Nintendo was the one that exploded all that back in the day.
And they don't bring back my beloved IP of Nintendo enough.
Which is Star Fox.
Yeah. Even Diddy Kong. I'm all about Diddy.
On one hand, I think, well, their consoles haven't been great. While they're not bad, I mean, people like them. But I will say this for Nintendo, their brand and the stories for their flagship characters in their flagship games is really strong and good. It's what carries them. Super Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, all of that. So I'm kind of like, it just naturally sort of fits into that sort of growth.
And Smash Brothers still is a classic.
Well, see, I think they're going to head for a Smash Brothers movie. You make the funny Mario movie. They're going to make a Zelda animated movie. At least that was what the rumors were, that they were trying to develop that.
Please make a Star Fox movie.
I mean, make it all, and then you do the Avengers thing. And you make the Super Smash Brothers movie with all of them fighting some existential threat.
Falcon Punch.
Who's the existential threat? It can't be Bowser.
So
is it Ganon?
No, in the Smash Brothers game, there is an existential threat, and it's like some wizard hand.
Oh, there's a story in that?
There is a story mode, yes.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that. I've seen the kids play it, and I just thought it was button mashing.
I like the battle option and avoid the story mode usually, but you get bored, and you're like, well, let's see what this is about.
Do you think that younger generations are as into Nintendo as we were? Or is the danger of Nintendo, like Nintendo's not Disney. So Nintendo, let's say Nintendo builds a theme park and does all this stuff. Doesn't this just peter out if they don't appeal to the younger generations? The Mario movie probably did a good job of that.
I think that they have such a stronghold with Mario. Like everyone and their mom knows Mario. And a few other of their IPs that like they're here to stay. And so, but again, I don't think you go the full Disney where you have 60 resorts or whatever. Because Disney has more than just Disneyland and Disney World. I mean, they have the cruises. They have all these places across the world. And I don't think you do that. I think a couple locations and that's it. I do think with the younger kids, that's what Nintendo targets. It's more family-friendly games, usually. Not the vulgarity, not the the killing of like GTA and all that jazz, you usually get just hit over the head with, well, this is more family friendly. And so I know some people don't buy their consoles just because it's like, well, I want to play these types of games and they don't have these types of games on there.
Yeah. It's interesting. I do think that they'd be fools to not do Mario Kart go-kart tracks. That just seems like an obvious one.
And couple it with a putt-putt course that's Super Mario themed.
Yeah, seems like it would lend itself to putt-putt. Like, we don't have enough. We have all sorts of places that would fit. Branson, Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Come on, make it happen.
Yep. Especially with the tubes. You can have them go up and down, try and make it into the tube.
Yeah. The go-kart tracks, the Mario Kart tracks, you could hire employees to be like the bad guys on the track, and you have to try and beat them. Yeah. Maybe there would be like something you could do to make their go-kart like pause for 5 seconds or something where the accelerator shuts off. Surely there's some sort of technology they could use there.
We're not about spinning out, though.
No. We don't wreck them. You just do something that incapacitates their cart for a few seconds. You incorporate some like laser technology. Last question. This comes from someone right here in our hometown named Danielle.
Hi, Danielle.
It is my wife. She came up with this question.
Oh.
Yeah. She asked this really good question. She said, if you could recast yourself into any role in an existing movie, what would it be?
Okay. When I only read like part of the question because I had a TV show that I had casted myself into.
Cody!
But it was a brief stint.
It'll work. That'll work.
But I can definitely think of a movie after I tell you my TV show and then you talk about your movie. But my TV show would be Justified, but I would be one of the extras of Crowder's Commandos. Not one of the main guys. I just want to be one of the extras in that scene.
Cody's so humble.
So then I can hang out with Walton Goggins. That's what I'm wanting.
Like, I love that your whole person you'd be cast as just is because you have an ulterior motive. Just so you can hang out with people you think are cool.
And Timothy Oliphant.
Yeah.
Like, I need him to, like, raid the Crowder's Commandos. And then me be like, oh no, I'm getting arrested by Timothy Oliphant.
We approached this question completely different.
We did.
My first thought is, when I was younger, I saw myself as a Vince Vaughn type. And so really, nothing. Was that a smirk? Are you laughing internally?
I'm just thinking Jurassic Park 2?
No, not that Vince Vaughn. That Vince Vaughn was lame. I'm talking about when you get to uncork Vince Vaughn. I've always been, when I get going talking, I could be a fast talker. And so Vince Vaughn is specifically the guy that's in, way back in Swingers, if you watch Swingers. When I was young, I loved that movie, and I loved Vince Vaughn in that movie, even though I was never as cool as Vince Vaughn is in that movie. But that's how I kind of saw myself in just in a way that I talk. I feel like I could have done Vince Vaughn roles if I was good at acting, which I'm probably not. It's one of those things I've never tried, so I don't know if I'm good or not, but probably if I haven't done it before, I wouldn't be very good. Now, most people on the outside would say, I've been told I look like Kevin James. I get confused for the King of Queens a lot in the last 15 years. And so the obvious choice seems to be Kevin James's character in the Grown Ups movies. And I don't think those would be hard acting jobs for me. I think I could pull that off.
Okay, I have thought of who I would be in a movie. And I'll make it quick.
The Crow.
Potentially, I could do that.
John Wick.
I was going to say William from Tombstone. I am Powers Booth.
Oh, yeah. You kind of got that gait that he does. He tall and lanky.
Well, bye.
Oh, perfect. I'm for that casting.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't say Val Kilmer.
I get to be in shootouts with Val Kilmer.
Again, there's an ulterior motive. Cody just wants to be around the people he likes.
Yes.
All right.
If Patrick Mahomes ever does a movie, I would cast myself in that one too.
Cody is currently casting himself in State Farm commercials. All right. That's the lobby and the questions. Now we will go back into the main studio to talk about what we're looking forward to the rest of the year. All right, welcome back. Cody did amazing research for this.
I did. I even brought dates for the TV shows.
Incredible. So Cody's going to kind of be the driving force behind this. I did pick out some things. The reason we're doing this, by the way, we do this every once in a while. What we're looking forward to. We do it at the new year, but it seems like the whole year stretching it out is a little too much. Like, for instance, movies. What we're usually looking forward to at the new year is the summer blockbuster stuff.
Or the big Marvel or DC movie.
Yeah, so it's often that we don't look past that. And so we thought we would take the opportunity to say, well, it's kind of been a weird movie season, only one Marvel movie this whole year. And so we might take a moment here to say, all right, let's pick out some things we're really looking forward to the rest of the year. And we do have an ulterior motive for that because we wanted to focus on television because we wanted to get your feedback on maybe possibly what we could do a watch along on next. Someone asked me about watch alongs today. Like they said, are you not doing Expedition Unknown anymore? I'm like, well, they stopped making new episodes like in the middle of their season. It's just like they moved into something different.
We're on a hiatus.
Yeah.
As the kids say.
They did that thing where they break their season up into pieces.
I don't blame them.
And so, yeah, we're kind of done with watch-alongs for Expedition Unknown right now because
Maybe
there's no new episodes.
For a few weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe a few months. God only knows.
But TV is what we're going to start with, and you should let us know, and maybe we'll do a poll. I don't know. In the community group.
There will be a couple of these I'm going to say like early on to being a watch along. Like I will be watching it, but I don't think I'm going to have any critical words of wisdom to share with the listeners.
Yeah. What we learned with Expedition Unknown is it's sort of difficult. Not every show is made for a watch along.
Expedition is one of those rare gems that is.
No, it wasn't. It was hard. I had to actually research more of the history.
Well,
to have things to say.
You all helped Dave learn.
But I don't want to learn, Cody. I don't want to learn. I've already learned so much. I'm super smart.
You are.
Oh, thank you. Why don't you give us a TV show you're looking forward to in the rest of 2024 here?
Okay. So with the ulterior motive being at the forefront, I'm going to start off with the one that I'm hoping that the people choose.
Oh, for a watch along.
Yes.
Okay.
September 22nd on MGM Plus, there's a show entering its third season. Its title is From. One word. Tucked away on MGM Plus with Challengers is one of the best horror shows you're probably not watching. Entering its third season this fall, From is completely addicting, spooky little mystery box that balances its endless questions with satisfying answers in a town full of fascinating characters stuck in a rustic Hades, is what I'll call it. But it's from some of the showrunners and creators of Lost. So if you like the pace of Lost, and you're like, I'm jonesing for some Lost.
I'm always jonesing for some Lost.
How about you get lost and find From on MGM Plus?
Nice. That's a catchphrase.
It is.
Book it. Someone write that down. I will back that up. From is an interesting show, and I'm definitely into it. I'm not sure that I always like it. It's one of those shows where the story definitely has me.
What I love about it is I don't know what's going on.
Yes.
And so, like, I'm constantly trying to guess, and then I'm like, shucky ducky, I'm wrong.
Yeah. So you mentioned that this show has some of the showrunners that from Lost. And when I think about this show, I think this must have been all the dudes who just wanted to go crazy on Lost. The ones they didn't get were the ones that put the clamps on and made it controlled. Because this just seems to just go all over the place. There's always some new mystery, some new thing to speculate about. And I dig it. It's just wild. Because the whole point of the show is it starts off with, I think it's a trope. I think I've seen other stories where they're traveling through an area. It's usually like a small town. They never get off the road, but they keep looping.
Yeah.
It was Wayward Pines did that.
Yeah, it's not unheard of.
Yeah, it's weird. And I got to say, I dig that sort of thing. I dig that. Of course, there are monsters that come out at night.
Scary.
Yeah, which, they're not monsters. They look like people, but they have the weird smiling thing going on, which came out before the Smile movie, by the way. This predated that, so they didn't steal that idea.
I think that it's quick to get caught up on the two seasons that you may have not watched if you have not watched this show.
Yeah, I feel like it's a quick watch.
Yes. So check it out, MGM Plus. You can get it on Prime or Roku or other things.
Yeah, you definitely have a couple weeks to get caught up and see if you like it, and then tell us if you want us to do a watch along on it. But I guarantee after a few episodes, you're going to be in deep speculation town. Well, is this hell or is it limbo? You're saying the same things we said in Lost. Are they all dead? It really is similar in a lot of ways, but then in a lot of ways, completely bonkers different.
I just think they're lost in the woods.
No, it's not. It's more than that.
I know. I'm trying to give a tease.
Yeah, and there is, I will not say anything more about it, but there is some just jaw-dropping cliffhangers.
And I will say, it opens itself up for great conversation, which we did have out at our last Comic-Con. Someone talked to us about From and all the speculations. So it's a good show talk.
Yeah, they directed me to a Facebook group. Did you join the Facebook group?
I did not join the Facebook group.
Okay, so it's called Fromily.
Oh.
Like family. They combined. See what they did there?
Oh, I see what you're doing.
It is nothing but people posting theories and out there theories too. I spent way too much time reading them when I was supposed to be working. They're really into this, Cody.
It reminds me of how you described the early days of Lost in the interwebs.
Yeah, it's not quite to that level because Lost was
a global phenomenon.
It was huge, but From deserves this sort of conversation. It's good enough to deserve that. So everybody go watch it, go get caught up on it, and then tell us if you want us to do a watch along on season 3, which starts September 22nd. What else you got?
Bypassing the Matlock reboot, which comes out September 22nd. The Penguin on HBO Max. This takes place in Gotham, in the Batman's Gotham. So that the movie with Robert Pattinson, Colin Farrell playing the Penguin. This comes out September 19th. It also is a good show because HBO only releases like one episode a week.
Yeah. The only problem with the mid-September starts, like the Penguin, is I'm about to go on vacation. We're going to skip a week of the main pod and probably won't be able to do a watch long until I get back, which will be late September.
About the time we got to wake up the lead singer of Green Day.
Someone go wake up Billy Joe. We're going to have a week without a main pod, but we're going to drop plenty of bonus pods so that you get your fix.
You're welcome.
And but the problem with that, so someone was asking me, were we going to do Rings of Power as a watch along? And I wouldn't have been opposed to that, but it was very awkward. So they dropped the first 3 episodes, which that's really hard to do. That's 3 hours of content. that we would have had to do a watch along on, and then I'll be gone for right in the middle of their season. It just, it wasn't going to work.
I was going to have to carry a whole lot of weight, and I can't do it all, people.
He carries most of the weight as it is. But yeah, so it just, we will watch Rings of Power, and if we have something to say about it, we'll just do a whole pod episode on it.
Expect a whole pod episode.
It's very possible, but it's a long season. I was looking at the episode list, and it's longer than I thought.
I'm here for it.
Did you? Oh, yeah, you said, what was the show you said?
The Penguin.
Oh, The Penguin, yeah. I'm looking forward to The Penguin. I don't know.
Dave's not all about the rogue gallery.
It's weird to me. It's weird because I'm like, well, this is just going to be a mobster show.
I'm good with mobster shows.
And I'm just kind of like, well, I don't want to see mobsters. I watch superhero genre stuff to watch superheroes. It's the same feeling I got with S.H.I.E.L.D., Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I know some people liked that. I hated Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I will say the one comic book property that my parents both loved, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That fits, though.
It does.
Because your parents probably aren't into the superheroes.
Not as much.
Yeah. Something I'm looking forward to. And really, I could start watching it now because it's already started.
Oh, no.
And it is Bad Monkey, starring Vince Vaughn. I just said out in the lobby how much I love Vince Vaughn. And he's been kind of out of the picture for a while. He hasn't done much. And this looks like sort of a dramedy.
Yeah, which I do think Apple does a good job with their dramedies.
Yeah, it's got a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. First couple episodes have already come out. It says this. Here's the blurb. You want me blurb voice?
Blurb voice.
A former Miami Police Department member turned health inspector, Andrew Yancey, investigates a case involving a human arm. He navigates through eccentric characters and unexpected challenges, all while dealing with his own personal struggles.
The thing with Apple, they don't promote their shows well. Or it's like a way afterthought of a streaming service. It's almost easier to find MGM Plus.
I would have never saw the trailer except for I was going to watch MLS. I was going to watch soccer, which is on the Apple Plus platform. And I just happened to see the trailer on the landing page because I had something. I turned it on the app and then I had something grab my attention. And so it just started playing the trailer and I was like, oh, what's this? This looks amazing. Yes. And I wasn't wrong. It does. It looks amazing. Vince Vaughn, Bad Monkey. I'm probably going to watch that.
To bypass Agatha all along, which I will say no to a watch along. Because Dave is not all about Agatha.
I am not interested.
The day before, another series drops. American Sports Story, Aaron Hernandez, from the same people that brought you American Horror Story.
Oh, that looks tense.
It does. And so September 17th, I assume it will be on Hulu.
So I saw something from Netflix today. Do you have something else? I'm kind of looking for it right now.
Oh, I got a ton of stuff. We'll go for the twofer. If you're into games, there are 2 game shows coming out in October. First one, Trivial Pursuit with LeVar Burton, coming out October 3rd. Yes, the LeVar Burton. The next one is Are You Smarter Than a Celebrity, hosted by Travis Kelce, anchor of Cody's fantasy football teams. It comes out October 16th. So, if you want your Travis Kelce fix, watch Are You Smarter Than a Celebrity?
Yeah. Who told us about Chaos?
Oh, someone at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
ICT.
That's right. So someone at ICT Comic-Con that we went to this weekend told us about a show called Chaos on Netflix where Jeff Goldblum stars as Zeus. But it has all of the Greek mythological figures, which is interesting because it seems very Sandman-like, but in a Greek mythological way. And I just thought that was an interesting idea. There's another one. I can't find what I was looking for. I just randomly saw this trailer today. Okay, Cody, I found it. The show's called Kevin Can Expletive Himself.
CeeLo would say forget.
Kevin Can Forget Himself, which, that as a title wouldn't normally jump out to me, obviously, as something I wanted to watch. But I happened to see a trailer. It has the girl from Schitt's Creek, Annie Murphy, I think is her name. She played the daughter on that show. And
Alexis Rose.
I need to know. This is in the 3rd season. I'd never heard of this show. When I saw the trailer, it looks like it's done in a very interesting way because at first you think it's a sitcom, like a really cheesy King of Queens style sitcom where there's a laugh track. And I thought, oh, she's in a sitcom. Oh, this sitcom's terrible. Like, this is not funny stuff. But then the husband leaves, who is apparently Kevin. And then the way the lighting and everything changes, the way they change it, films it, and it becomes this dark, she's struggling sort of story where she's struggling with her relationships and in her marriage. And it's not funny. It's played like the shift is meant to play on the way you're viewing it, the perspective. And I just thought, wow, that's a really interesting concept. And I'd never heard of it. So I was kind of inspired to watch it. Is anyone watching Kevin Can Forget Himself out there? That's what I want to know.
Please let Dave know if it's worth watching.
Yeah, because the trailer was... I think the concept of what they're doing is sort of genius. Do you have another one?
Not a TV series. I rushed through mine while you were looking for Kevin.
I threw off everything there. Trivial Pursuit, by the way, is one of my favorite games of all time. I played it as a kid. Loved it.
Ditto.
I was just a huge fan of trivia. And Trivial Pursuit, by the way, that was a different brand of trivia.
Mm-hmm.
That was when trivia was hard. I go to trivia nights now that local coffee shops will host and stuff like that. And I am appalled at how easily the questions can be answered.
I don't like that.
Trivial Pursuit said, well, you can take your easy and you can just go down to play bingo.
Yeah.
Because we're not giving you that trash. So the Trivial Pursuit, they called it the Genus edition. It's not even genius. It's some word that you thought was made up because we're not smart enough to understand what they're saying. So Trivial Pursuit was legit. We had some very high tension games of Trivial Pursuit growing up in my house.
By the way, you can put the pie pieces or slices in wrong.
Oh, yeah.
They'll get stuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that happened a lot, too. Then we would get mad, my mom and I, because my mom and I took it very seriously. I always wanted to beat my mom. And as I got older, I could, and it started happening with more regularity. I know she never listens to this pod, so I'll just say I beat her like a drum at Trivial Pursuit now. She can't compete.
Oh, poor mom.
I like how modest I am when talking about Trivial Pursuit. Anyways, this is kind of a cheat because it comes out in January, but we're just also really looking forward to Severance.
So that is the thing I'm most looking forward to, but it's, again, in the new year. So.
I think it counts because it's the season. It's kind of in the season that we're heading towards. But if you haven't watched Severance, and again, it's on Apple TV.
A hidden gem.
Yeah. Severance is really good about a bunch of people who work at a very mysterious workplace where part of the contract is you literally sever your consciousness. Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
So that you have a work self and a life self, and they're totally separate from each other, and they don't remember anything from either or.
Which is bananas.
It's very Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind type stuff.
I'm someone that compartmentalizes, but I still know that these things happen.
Yeah.
I just don't think about until I'm back at work. These people don't know what's happening.
Yeah. If you enjoyed Eternal Sunshine, then then you would definitely like Severance. Let's move to, do you have any books? I have a book.
The Bible.
I also will be reading the Bible. I was kind of struck by a book coming out that I am wanting to read. It's by Yuval Noah Harari. Are you familiar with this guy?
You just made up something.
Nope. He wrote, maybe you've heard of it, Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind. That came out in 2011. It was a bestseller, a huge book. Yuval is an Israeli medievalist, a military historian, public intellectual, and writer. He currently serves as a professor in the Department of History at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. And he is coming out with a book here in the fall called Nexus, A Brief History of Information Networks.
That sounds a little too intellectual for me.
It basically, here's the blurb. I'll read you the blurb. For the last, I'll do it with, I won't do it in my blurb voice because I want you all to get this. And it's
okay.
That I'm not joking around. For the last 100,000 years, we sapiens have accumulated enormous power, but despite all our discoveries, inventions, and conquests, we now find ourselves in an existential crisis. The world is on the verge of ecological collapse, misinformation abounds, and we are rushing headlong into the age of AI, a new information network that threatens to annihilate us. For all that we have accomplished, why are we so self-destructive? So it says Nexus looks through the long lens of human history to consider how the flow of information has shaped us and our world, taking us from the Stone Age through the canonization of the Bible, early modern witch hunts, Stalinism, Nazism, and the resurgence of populism today. Yuval Noah Harari asks us to consider the complex relationship between information and truth, bureaucracy and mythology, wisdom and power. He explores how different societies and political systems throughout history have wielded information to achieve their goals for good and ill. And he addresses the urgent choices we face as non-human intelligence threatens our very existence. Which I think is a little fear-mongering.
I don't think it's the way that we perceive from pop culture. I do think that there is definitely a way that AI may be cataclysmic to us that is not like, oh, Terminator.
I don't know where he's going with it, but he uses words like annihilate and cataclysm, things like that. And I'm just like, I mean, it may affect us negatively in the long run with, but it won't be violent. It's not like Terminator. Yeah. But I think he's overplaying it a little bit. I will say, I want to read this, not because I feel like I'm going to agree with everything here. This dude's a smart dude, so he doesn't care if I agree with him or not. Mm-hmm. But you can tell by some of the things in the blurb that he's coming at it from a certain political side. Ecological collapse, misinformation abounds, rushing headlong into the age of AI. He talks about populism, which I guarantee he's going to say that that's Trump. Fascism, things like that, Stalinism, Nazism. He's going to go through all that. But he also is going to include the canonization of the Bible, which for a historian to include that in there. And he's, by the way, this whole book's about the collection of information. So I think I know what direction he's coming at it from. He is an atheist, which I find interesting, but a lot of Israelis are. That's not common knowledge. We assume they're all practicing a Jewish faith, but actually they have a very large percentage of their country, much larger than ours, that is atheist.
I do think that if you're going to have a book about educating people on how we have evolved information, knowledge, wisdom, misinformation, you do have to have the canonization of the Bible. And a lot of Christians don't even get that or understand what went into that. Seminary is where my historical knowledge comes from for that. And so I definitely think that this will be kind of eye-opening, especially to see how, especially Western Civ has kind of radicalized this and heavily influenced where we're at now.
Yeah. So don't get me wrong. I'm definitely interested in this guy's opinion. I'm not one of these people by and large, we as people today, we don't want dissenting opinions from our own. But I'm really super fascinated by the way other people see things. And I'm super interested to hear this guy's, not because I think I will agree or disagree with his conclusions, but mostly the fact that this dude is a historian, philosopher, and you can't question the knowledge. The dude does the research. So I'm very fascinated to read this book called Nexus by Yuval Noah Harari and just kind of see the data that he's using, what he's going into, and then, yes, to see the conclusions he draws. And then I will disagree with him if I must, and nobody else will care.
I'll let someone buy the audiobook for me.
I love audiobooks, especially academic things like this.
Yes.
It's usually a little bit easier on you. Should we get into movies?
Yes.
All right. What movies are you looking forward to, Cody?
Okay. To start off closer, Beetlejuice. I didn't need a sequel, but I'm going to watch it. I don't know if it'll be any good or not, but it will make me rewatch the original, which I loved the original as a kid and as a teen. I haven't probably watched it since I was in my early 20s, so it's been over a decade. But I am excited for Beetlejuice just to get my nostalgia fix. And also to see a Tim Burton movie without Johnny Depp. Because for a while, that's all they were.
There is a September movie I am wanting to watch. I probably won't see in the theater because we probably won't get it. But we already talked about Kevin Smith in this podcast, this episode. And I'm going to talk about him again because I would love to see the 4:30 movie. Here's the blurb. During the summer of 1986, three 16-year-old buddies spend their Saturdays sneaking into movies at the local Cineplex. When one of the guys invites the girl of his dreams to see an R-rated film, all hilarity breaks loose as a self-important theater manager and teenage rivalries interfere with his best-laid plans. Directed by Kevin Smith. I think Kevin has a knack for kind of telling these coming-of-age type stories, but stunted. Like his characters always seem like their maturity level is stunted, which I just happen to find really super realistic, but also funny because I was that guy. I think most people think that guys especially should mature in their upper teens. I don't think so. I think guys mature in their mid-20s. You know what movie I'm looking forward to? This is going to knock your socks off.
I'm not wearing socks right now, so.
I am looking forward to something that could be considered a Christian movie, which is not my usual thing I'm looking forward to.
Well, this wasn't what I was going to guess, so.
Coming out November 8th, 2024, by director Dallas Jenkins, a remake of the best Christmas pageant ever. Y'all know, if you've listened to this podcast, I'm a sucker for Christmas movies. I love it. Here's the blurb for this one. The Herdmans are 6 siblings who have a reputation for being the worst kids in the world. However, when they take over the local church pageant during the holidays, they just might teach a shocked community the true meaning of Christmas. Starring Judy Greer, Lauren Graham from the Gilmore Girls, Pete Holmes, comedian Pete Holmes. There's a lot of people in this movie.
Judy Greer is in the new Halloween movies and also Archer.
She was in Arrested Development.
Yep.
This is kind of cool. Dallas Jenkins, if you don't know, is the director of The Chosen.
Oh, hey-o.
Yeah, huge thing in the Christian entertainment world. This is a movie from Lionsgate. So they gave him the keys to this, probably based on The Chosen. And I just think this is really, really interesting because it seems like this is something that could be crossover. This isn't straight Christian entertainment.
No, not with the cast that they have, but the cast that they have isn't polarizing against the church either.
No.
So I think they found a good mix.
Yeah, and so I'm very interested to see how they play this, how it comes out, because they could lean either way, really, and it might disappoint a faction of the audience, but I don't know. I just think this could be one of those movies. Christmas movies do seem to be the place where mainstream Hollywood can go just dip their toe into the Christian thing.
Yes.
And everybody can be okay with it because we all love Christmas, right?
For the most part.
Isn't that amazing? That even if you're not someone who's a Christian, you might still love Christmas. So I'm looking forward to it. Best Christmas pageant ever.
Joker, Folly Adieu.
Yeah, I knew you were going to bring that up.
If you liked Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker in The Joker, you are bound to love him doing this role again, but with Lady Gaga in it, and it's sort of a musical. It's intriguing, at least. And I do think that the director, the way that he frames shots and the coloration that he used on The Joker was really captivating. And so I'm eager to dive a little bit deeper into this world.
We have discussed before how this maybe just isn't my bag. But yeah, I think you're right. The cinematography is gorgeous in the first one. And the trailer for the second one has some really cool shots.
Yep.
Which I think the Joker kind of lends himself to that sort of thing. These kind of sweeping shots with this strange little man at the center of it. I think Heath Ledger really informed that because Nolan did some really cool sweeping shots in that movie with Heath Ledger. How much of this character do you think it owes to Heath's portrayal? Because it's different.
Oh, it's definitely different because they'll tell you this is not the Joker, but it's a Joker.
Yeah. But he's gritty, psychologically damaged, kind of like the Heath Ledger Joker.
Yes. I mean, a lot closer to Heath's Joker versus Jack's Joker.
I noticed you didn't mention Jared Leto's Joker. What's with the Jared Leto slander?
I didn't mention Mark Hamill's either, and I really like Mark Hamill's.
Just out of curiosity, did you like Jared Leto's Joker? Because he probably method acted.
He did method act. I know that for a fact. I think if we had the Ayer cut, is that who directed?
Yes, David Ayer.
Yeah, if we had the Ayer cut, I might be able to say I can see what they're doing. But with the cut we have, like it's weirdly Mod Podged and he feels like forced in.
Yeah.
So
I'd agree with that.
I'm not going to bash Jared Leto for this.
Okay.
I'll be nice.
He does seem weirdly shoehorned into that story. Like he's completely unnecessary.
Yep. You didn't need him.
Yeah. All right. We've already talked about these two that I want to see. They come out on the exact same day in late November. Gladiator 2 and Wicked.
Gladiator Dose?
Yeah. And I'm just really looking forward to these. I think I've discussed this at length already. It just has come up a couple of times. Gladiator 2, thought was going to be a joke, but the trailer won me over.
The cast.
Yeah, Paul Mescal, Pedro Pascal, Denzel Washington. It looks really, really good.
And then, what's his name? Unless what's his name is one of the names you already said.
I don't know. I don't know who what's his name is. Those are the three
Stranger
people I can remember. Oh, is he in that?
I'm pretty sure that.
I don't know. I don't know if he's in that.
Okay, don't quote me on that.
Are you having bad facial recognition?
Not today.
Oh, Joseph Quinn is in that.
Okay, so apologies accepted on behalf of those who were doubting for a split
Barry
second.
Keoghan's in it?
Yes, I knew Barry was in it.
And Diamond Honshu, which that will be the only, Connie Nielsen's in it too. She's in the trailer. So those two characters are your returning actors from Gladiator 1.
Yes, Joseph Quinn's in it, and he's almost unrecognizable. He has a lot of powdery makeup on.
Maybe that's why I didn't know it. Joseph Quinn and Paul Mescal are two quickly rising actors in Hollywood, and they'll both be in Fantastic Four with Pedro Pascal, who's also in this movie. 3 of the Fantastic Four are in Gladiator 2.
Well, thank you, Mr. Scott.
Do we have to? Because Ridley's, he's kind of cantankerous.
He is.
The other movie, of course, I'm looking forward to is Wicked. I've talked about that a lot as well. I'm just a fan of Wicked, and I too would like to defy gravity.
Wouldn't we all?
Any more movies?
Okay, I'll get through my last 3 quick, just because they're already common knowledge ones. Venom 3, I'm all about Venom Horse. And also, it's supposed to potentially be the conclusion to the Eddie Brock, Tom Hardy run. And so, if that is true, then I watched the first 2, might as well watch the third one.
Which gives me hope that maybe there are some maybe just baseline plans to bring him into the MCU with Tom Holland Spider-Man.
I do like Tom Hardy. He's good.
Yeah, I like him too.
Sonic the Hedgehog 3. They're going to make me watch Sonic 1 and 2, but they're finally introducing my favorite Sonic character, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Not Knuckles.
Not Knuckles.
Because there's a TV show.
I know there's a TV show. Shadow is the coolest of the whole Hedgehog crew.
I'll take your word for it.
And then the Christmas movie that we're getting in October.
Oh.
Terrifier 3.
That's not a Christmas movie.
Not for the youth, but for those who were a fan of Terrifier 2. And it looks like, watching the trailer, that they're actually going to have a continuous story where, like, the first one didn't connect with the second one, and the prequel didn't connect to either of them, besides that it's the same clown. This one actually has kind of like a Halloween-like vibe where, we're always following Laurie and Michael Myers. Yeah. This time we're following Art and then the 2 kids from the last one.
All of it's loosely based on my life. Different stories, same clowns. All right. What are you guys looking forward to in the rest of this year? I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's a little bit different. We just wanted to kind of put that out there, mostly because we want some feedback on the television stuff. What should we do watch-alongs on? But we'd also like to hear what you're looking forward to. The interesting movie season of this year continues. It just seems like it's odd.
There's not like a lot of gigantic blockbusters, but a lot of this could be quality or it could be trash.
Yeah. Also, since we're coming up on that season, do you like the thing we've done in past years where we review the new Christmas stuff?
If you suggest Terrifier 3, Dave will have to watch Terrifier 2.
I really do not want to watch Terrifier movies. Mostly because I don't want to be terrified.
I don't blame you, buddy.
Yeah. Let us know. As always, follow us on social media if you haven't subscribed to the pod. And then share our stuff. Share it. That helps us immensely, more than you could know. Because we want more people to listen to this so we can, start getting it out there and do more things. We want to do more things. We want to do video stuff eventually. And all of that takes some resources that we do not currently have. But mostly, we just want more people in our community because we dig people. And we hope you dig people too. We hope you love being in this community. And we love you guys. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next week.